Welcome to The Clean Slate with your hosts, Daniel Garza and Carson Phillips, providing you with movie news, reviews, and more. Sit back, relax, and don't forget to go to the concessions to get your popcorn and drinks. For your entertainment, this is The Clean Slate Podcast.
Welcome back to The Clean Slate Podcast. I'm your host, K Sizzle, with D Drizzle over there.
I like D Drizzle.
And we're revisiting a franchise that we love from this found footage February.
Yep.
And this is the Creep Tapes. This is a TV show continuation of Creep, which we've praised this movie at least twice now on the podcast. So
yeah,
this will be a fun episode.
All right, guys. So here is the logline for the Creep Tapes. It explores a collection of videotapes from a serial killer who hires victims under false pretenses to film him. Each episode features a new victim.
Dang, dude. I feel like this would happen to you.
Yeah, no, because I'm not like going on eBay looking for clients.
That's eBay?
Yeah,
Craigslist, bro.
Craigslist, my bad.
eBay. Remember we did that? We co-produced that short film for that random dude.
Mm-hmm.
He could have killed us, for sure.
But he was a friend of a friend, so
that's even worse. Friends of a friend, they always want to kill you. One Perfect, dude. Check it out. Stream it on YouTube.
Is it really?
I have no idea. I haven't even seen it. Yeah, so guys, for the Creep Tapes, this is kind of follows the same formula as Creep 1 and 2, except for it's much shorter. Each episode's about 24 to 27 minutes each. Mm-hmm. And it, like Daniel said, it follows him inviting someone to come work for him, and then things go horribly wrong. They get a little bit more creative with why some of the people are there. Like, we have one guy who has a YouTube channel. It's all about, gotcha journalism or whatever, exposing priests. So he'll, pose as different, careers in certain cases in this series. He'll also mislead people that are obsessed with finding birds in the wild. So there's definitely a little bit more variety than the first two movies in some ways, especially the last two episodes of this. But for the most part, it's just him paying people to come out and do some kind of work with him.
Yeah.
And then he kills them. So you kind of know where everything's going, but obviously the fun of this film series and now TV show is just seeing how Mark Duplass's character is going to be deranged. It's really more just a character study of the killer. Mm-hmm. The side characters don't matter as much. And another thing to mention is Patrick Bryce, the director, and I think he also acted in the first
one, yeah,
is back again. So it's the same team, which is cool. We didn't lose any of our main people, so I appreciate that. And it doesn't really drive the plot super forward in this for the most part. I mean, maybe the last two episodes kind of drive the plot forward, but it's confusing, and we'll get into it here in a minute. But
cool. All right, well, let's get into likes and dislikes. Just a side note, this is on AMC Plus and Shudder if you would like to check it out.
Shudder instead.
And it's not rated, so use that information how you will. It's
basically R-rated, probably.
Yeah. So just go into that treading lightly. But however, if you are a found footage fan, these are pretty integral to a found footage setup, and it's a very interesting, I would say, set, or what is the word I'm trying to find?
I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Okay.
Do you mean the IP itself is interesting?
Yeah,
intellectual property. It's the concept, I guess, is really fascinating. It's very bare bones. And almost, I kept thinking of Be My Cat. We watched that last year.
Yeah. Even
though it's not the same thing as Creep, but it has that same DIY kind of grungy, gross feel, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. Anyway, okay, so for some likes, I really did enjoy the different variations that we had in every single episode. And also, first of all, the biggest plus of this show is that they're only 20 minutes long. I watched this within a couple hours, and it was good. So, you got a really nice variety of different things. My worry was that it was going to just be the exact same, if you've watched the first two movies, they kind of follow a very similar outline. The second one's a little bit it gets further enough away to where it doesn't matter that much. But at the end of the day, it's still a killer. You're still like interested in seeing what he's going to do and how like his deranged mind is going to take over. And that was pretty much the gist of it. And I mean, it's a very captivating idea. But I have a lot more dislikes than I do likes on this.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. Overall, I really enjoyed this show. I think it was an interesting attempt at a TV show to spin off. I know they said, the third one, we need to have a really solid concept in order to make it, and they didn't. So they made this instead, which makes me worried about what the third one could be. And some episodes definitely are better than others. Like the first episode is more in line, I believe, with the first movie. But then you have some of the interesting ones, like I mentioned, the guy who wants to like expose this priest. I find that one kind of interesting. I was also really into the episode where there's like a true crime documentarian director who ends up becoming part of a true crime case, I guess, in this sense. I thought that one was kind of an interesting look at how we consume true crime media, and that's something I'm fascinated by. So I thought there was at least some interesting themes throughout these episodes. This might get into more dislikes, but the last two episodes definitely lend themselves towards, I guess I'm intrigued, if not worried about where they're going with the series. I think the second to last episode is pretty good, actually. But the last episode I have some issues with. But we'll talk about that here in a second.
Yeah, actually, on that note, I did like the second and the second to the last episode, just mainly because more so it leans itself more into what is it called?
Like psychological.
Yeah, like you really get into his brain, kind of how, like you figure out a little bit more about him rather than just the killings, which is, I thought was like a refreshing like take on it. Because if it was going to be all 6 episodes of just him murdering people and doing a different thing, then I was going to be like, I was going to be out.
Yeah.
But the last 2 episodes, while they're very, very weird, it's actually
good.
They're better than I would say the first couple.
The second to last one, I think, is where the show should have ended, because I feel like the last episode reveals just a tad bit too much, in my opinion.
Okay.
And I think it might contradict itself, but he's an unreliable narrator, so there's like ways to like, I don't know. And then we've also saw him edit footage to make it look like one thing is happening that's not. So I don't know.
Right.
But I didn't love that last episode.
Yeah, for sure. Also, to get into more dislikes, I think the biggest thing for me was that it just becomes boring a little bit. Like almost every episode has about a 10-minute monologue from Mark Duplass, and it's just like
but they're so good.
it just feels, I mean, I get it that this is the character, but it's so narcissistic of the character, but I also think of the writing.
Yeah.
To be like,
oh yeah,
I don't think he's that interesting. I really don't. Like he was never, like in the first movie,
I feel like that's the point.
Well, I feel like in the first movie, he really does it well. Like, you don't really know. He plays that whole friendly, I'm inviting you in, but then, we
almost know him too well now.
Yeah, exactly. And to now where it's like, okay, you're not getting into any more depth that I have been wanting in this, like, creep, right? Because when it comes to that's why I like the second to the last episode, is because it's multi-layered as a character. But in the first couple, he just plays the exact same guy, and it's almost like the same exact structure for every episode.
Oh, it really is.
And to me, it got really like boring.
On that note, I feel like his relationship with each person kind of follows that same trajectory too. Like almost every person he kills has very similar personalities. And you could argue it's because he has a certain victim type.
Yeah.
But I kind of wish some of the victims would maybe surprise him so we could see his reaction to that. Like, I think that could be an interesting way to go about. Like, no one really fights back even. Like, I would love to see someone
in
really
Creep
fight
Tapes
back.
2, she does.
Yeah, that's what made that one so good.
Yeah,
is she goes
because it was like a challenge
in a different
for him.
direction.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like, yeah, I don't know. There's just some issues there, and I really do feel like that last episode messes things up for me. Like, the more I think about it, like, yeah, if it was a standalone, if that's the only thing I've ever seen from this franchise, I'd be like, ooh, that was good.
Yeah.
But in light of everything else, it kind of, I don't know, it doesn't work for me. It's kind of a bummer the more I think about it.
To me, I kind of agree with you, but at the same time, I was also like, you know what? I was happy that they took this in a different direction than him just like being a friendly guy, but then being so friendly he wants to murder somebody. Like, I mean, it still
The
happens.
mommy milkers.
Yeah, that was crazy, bro. I'm not
I was like, what the crap,
Yeah.
dude? And then you see his butt. I'm like,
yeah.
why did this have to happen?
He just wanted to be naked. Like, you know that for a fact. He's done it in almost every single
Me
one.
as a director.
Yeah, exactly.
If I was
It's like, I just
acting
wanna
and
show my
directing something like
penis.
Daniel, I think I need to be butt naked in this scene. You'd be like, why? This is
Like,
a
there's no
family
need.
drama. Okay,
No,
but
that's what the scene calls for.
would you take a job from Mark Duplass and Patrick Bryce, or would you be like, I don't trust you guys because, like, have we ever heard of these actors again?
Yeah,
Hear
no.
me out.
Mark Duplass is actually
What if they're
pretty
working together to kill people?
well recognized. He's a
What
pretty
if Mark Duplass is a serial killer?
he's a pretty good writer, as far as I'm
He's a
concerned.
serial killer.
He's a writer on the morning show. Or no,
Right.
he's an actor.
This is his
on the
side gig, dude.
And
Okay, what
then-
about the side characters? Nobody knows what happened to them.
Yeah, it's facts. It is facts.
That's not true. Never
He's
mind, they've
actually
all
a
been
pretty
out of things.
well-working actor. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, I think he's gonna go down as like one of the greats.
And he's
eventually. Like
he won an Emmy.
great side character. Yeah,
Wow. Okay. Well,
he's a good character actor.
for sure. Yeah. I think the nostalgia of Creep and Creep 1 and 2 kind of carries these through, but it's also almost like too little, too late. Like, these tapes would have been really cool, but now because streaming is a
2
thing.
years ago.
Yeah, like now that streaming is like readily available, it seems like streaming services literally just pick up old properties and try to make a show out of them, and it's just like sometimes do
Yeah.
we need that, or should we have been better about that earlier?
I kind of wish they just released this for free on like YouTube or
Yeah.
like some sketchy website
Yeah,
and just
that'd
not
been-
told us.
that would've
That
been
would have
cool.
been really cool.
But you know,
You got to do like the in-universe stuff. That's what I'm looking for. But
yeah.
I still think it's one of the better found footage franchises we have, at least for now.
Anyway, all right, guys. Well, that is Creep Tapes. If you haven't seen it, you can go watch it. AMC and Shudder.
Creeps.
I hated it then, and I hate it
I'm
now.
a weirdo.
My dogs are kind of being obnoxious right now, so
And it's fine.
end the
Dogs out,
episode.
dude. All right. You end the episode.
Okay, fine. All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for stopping by. We have one more found footage movie for you guys this month, and then we are moving on to a month that I won't announce yet. But guys, you'll want to stick around. We got a lot of good things coming up, and we will be back with you next week with another found footage movie. Oh, don't forget to like and subscribe, comment, share, all those things. Peace.
Peace. That's a clean slate.